Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Vianey, and today is gonna be story time. This happened in Mexico about 5 years ago or so. I don't remember what year it happened, but it wasn't that long. It was like, actually, it was a while ago. It was when I was like 21 or 22. I don't remember. But, so this took place in Mexico, where my dad used to live in this house, and I used to go visit him on the weekends. And of course, there's gonna be a bug. So the way I'm gonna preface the house, how it's set up. So you drive in, you open the gates and you drive in. The driveway is all the way down to the end of the property. So you drive all the way down. You could drive all the way down to the end of the property. It wasn't that huge. Just like you could fit like three cars, like 3 to 4 cars touching each other to the end of the wall, from the end of the wall to the beginning of when you first come in. So it was pretty long, and on the left side, that's where the house was. But it was weird because Mexico sets up their houses weird. They just do whatever they want, however they want. So like the main house was on the left. You drive in and you park your car, whatever. On the left side, you had the main house. So you go in the main house, and there was one big bedroom, which is where my dad stayed, and there was a bathroom and a huge living room and kitchen. So you would leave that to go to the next one, and it was like a studio kind of garage kind of room. But you couldn't fit a car in there. You just open the door and you go in, and I'll try to insert pictures because I have pictures. And so that was like my dad's studio. He would paint and he would just relax there. On the third one, that's where my brother would stay we would stay whenever we'd visit. So that one had its own bathroom, and it was just one bedroom, a huge bedroom, kind of like a studio. But they didn't have a kitchen or anything like that. It was just a huge room with one bathroom, and it was nice. So they were connected like wall to wall, but like you would leave one and go to the other one. So you couldn't walk through the three rooms through. There was no way to walk through them. You'd have to leave the house, the first room, and then go to each one. This is Peanut, by the way, if you guys wanted to know. So basically, what happened was weird. Cause okay, I think it's always been haunted, or something's always been going on there, because when my grandma was living there, my uncle was living there, like my whole family was living there. When we first got it, everybody would say, "Oh, there's noises here. There's this happening. There's that happening." Specifically, like we had a ball on top of one of the shelves, but it was half deflated, and it was there for the longest time, and out of nowhere, it just fucking bounced off. Like it was just so random, and we're like, it's possible, you know. And then when I would come back, I would hear new stories like, oh, like you know how the liquor stores have that ding ding, like the little sensor where they can hear the people are coming in. So my dad likes to like fix stuff, and people would bring him things to fix because he's like a mechanic, maintenance. He does everything. Like he's a handyman. So people would bring him things to fix, and I think they brought him this thing because it needed to get fixed, and it was really fucking weird because the story they told me between him and his worker in the studio where he would do all his artwork and all his working, fixing whatever he'd had to do. I guess they had put it there, and they noticed it would go off randomly after it's been fixed. It would go off randomly, and they decided to ask, like, is there someone here? And it would go ding ding. Like, they would ask questions, and it would respond. And I'm like, oh no, thank you. So they know I can't really handle big, crazy, scary shit like that, so they put that shit away when I was there. It's just, like, when he was telling me that, I was in the fucking room. The main room that had, like, a lot of things happening was that room, the studio room. For me, my personal experience that happened to me was in that same weekend, two different occasions. So at that time, my uncle had passed away already. He had passed away in the house, and it was maybe a couple months after that. And I remember we were cooking in the kitchen, and we had a salad bar in the middle of the kitchen, and behind it, like there was a stove, and then right behind, there was like maybe 3 feet of space in between the stove and the salad bar, because you turn around, grab all your stuff, and then cook it. So it was my husband, it was me, my dad, my stepmom. Um, who else? Like I just remember the house was full, and we had cats and we have dogs, and we had a cat who was asking for food, and I just remember I was like shredding the chicken and like putting the bones on the side, but I wouldn't put it like on the table. Like I was putting them on a bowl, like the bones in a bowl and the chicken in a different bowl. And I remember because we were making tostadas or something like that, and I just remember I was looking at the cat, and the cat was begging for some chicken. And I'm like, oh, I'll give it a little piece. So I grabbed a piece, and I gave it to the cat while my husband's cooking right behind me. And I turn around, and the piece of chicken is outside the bowl right in front of me. And I'm like, that's weird. And I'm like, Alex, because why would I have a bowl that's empty when there's that was chicken, there was chicken bones in it to like throw away later, but I didn't want to make a mess, so like of course I have a little bowl to put the chicken bones there. And for some reason that all the chicken bones were right in front of me instead of in the bowl. By the time I turned around, I'm like, that's weird. And I told my husband, like, hey, look what happened, like there's bones in the chicken, there's chicken bones there's chicken bones on the table when I just put them in the bowl, like that's creepy. And I'm like, Theo, are you here? Like I was just like, I wonder if he's here, like because by this time we already knew this house was like creepy and haunted. And I'm like, oh, whatever. And then the other cat came, so we're all just joking, and that's happening. And another cat came, and I'm like, oh, let me get another piece. And mind you, I had already put the chicken bones in the bowl just because it's gross, like put it in the bowl, that's clean. And then and so I grabbed another piece, and I gave to the cat. Jill just dropped it to the cat. By the time I looked back, the fucking bones were there again. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm not cooking anymore. I can't do this shit. Like, this is fucking creepy. Hold on, let me let my other dog out. So by the time I came back, when I looked back, there was chicken bones in front of me again. And I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore, because it was just too real for me. And I remember this was around January. It was a month after my birthday, and my dad had decorated the studio for me, like put balloons, made it all girly and stuff. And I just remember, that we were creeped out because that was like that first day. And then the second day in the morning, I remember we were making quesadillas for my brother, and my mom had me like take it to my brother upstairs to the last room. So I was passing by, so I got out of the first main house, and I passed, and I noticed my husband was talking to my dad's friend / roommate, worker. His name's Freddie. So he was talking. He's around the same age as my husband, and so they're talking, and I'm like, I have like food in my hands, and I'm passing by, and I notice they're talking, and then I go to like deliver the food for my brother, and on the way back, I'm like just excited because I'm about to eat my food. So they're like, oh, Vita, come here. And I'm like, oh, like I wonder what they want, like I'm like, oh, well, what is it? And then they're like, oh, come here. And I'm like, okay. So then I go. As soon as I enter the room, my gut hurt so much. Like, when you go in the roller coasters and you see the top of the hill, and right before you go down, you feel your stomach drop? It felt like that as soon as I entered the room. It was so thick. It was like you could feel how thick and negative the energy was inside it. I guess they were talking about something that had happened. Like that there's something in that room that they knew there was something in that room, and it was creeping them out, and it was so evident. They wanted me to know. They just were creeped out, and they wanted to know if I could feel it without telling me. But I just remember I walked in and I felt this nasty gut feeling. I'm like, oh, what's that? Like, it was so physical. It was so physical that I felt it, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, oh, do you feel that? And I'm like, fuck, yeah, but I, like, cause I didn't know that they knew that my stomach hurt right when I came in, and they're like, did you feel that? And I'm like, yes. What the fuck are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, there's something here. I'm like, oh fuck, no, bye, peace out, And my husband's really spiritual and very very pure hearted. Like he has like a good energy around him. I remember one time I went to a psychic, which is a different story. She told him that she was surprised because he has a guardian angel with him at all times, and it's funny because he's always told me that since he was little. He's not since he was little. I guess he's always told me since I met him that since he was little, that he's always had a guardian angel. That someone told him he had a guardian angel, and it's funny because we went to a psychic, and a longer story, but she told him the same thing, that he's very blessed to have a guardian angel with him at all times, which according to her, we only get them when we call upon them, or something like that. I don't know if it's true, but it was just a weird coincidence. But he has that good energy, and he doesn't give a fuck about stuff. Like, he had white sage. I don't know if you guys know what white sage is. It's what Native Americans use to in the rituals and stuff like that. And a lot of people use that to get rid of negative spirits and negative energies, and to bless the houses because it burns white. The smoke is white, and it's like a symbol for like purity and like good stuff, right? Good vibes. And I remember he had it in the trunk because he takes it with him everywhere. Like, he loves the white sage. He believes in it. I believe in it. So he starts white saging the studio, and just remember, my dad had decorated like balloons all over the walls. It's just really hard to say this. So he had decorated all the walls, and I just remember that he started white saging. I left. I peaced out when they're like, do you feel that? And I'm like, bye. And I just remember they're like white saging it, and my husband leaves, and he's like telling you, no negative energies here, blah blah blah, and he leaves. Like, we leave the room. Oh, I'm sorry, did I wake you up? So, these contacts are bothering me. Okay, so they white sage it, and then they all leave the room because we're about to eat. The quesadillas were done, so we go into the kitchen and we start eating. Within like 1 minute, all you hear is pop, 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 pop. Like, just, you could hear the popping of the balloons from where we were, because we were so close to it, but it's on the other side. And we're like, what the fuck? And we run to the room, and all the balloons are popped. I'm like, oh shit, like, that's like, oh my god, I'm out. Like, this is not cool. This is not fucking cool. And like, a lot of other things did happen, like scary shit that did happen, but I can't really talk about it because it's so personal, and how do I explain? It's not my story to tell. It's my dad's like scary stories that happened to him, but he's always witnessed weird shit since he was little, and for his privacy, I don't want to tell his stories unless he wants to tell them. But it'll be in Spanish most likely if he tells his stories. But I remember we had to leave that house. We literally just left the house. Like, it was just so negative. That house was so negative, and I'm so glad we ended up leaving that house. But I don't remember having like a physical thing happen to me specifically there, except for the chicken thing. But I feel like it was more like it could have been my uncle. And it was really weird because I was talking to my the thing is, there's so many stories about like scary experiences that intertwine, but it always has to do with my dad. I don't know if things follow him or he's just more spiritual, because he definitely is more spiritual. He's Christian, he found Jesus, and like, he hasn't had bad experiences lately since he became Christian. But before that, prior to that, we used to live in a different house, a 2-story house, and every morning, sometimes on the weekends I would stay with him, And I just remember in the mornings, you'd hear him like, fuck, like, shit, oh fuck, like he would be in Spanish. He'd be like, ah, crap, like you hear cups just falling, and you'd hear him like fight with someone, like, oh my god, what the fuck, like, and I'm like, in the morning, every morning, you'd hear him like curse at something because something fell, and it was funny because I was talking to my friends about it because we were going to start a podcast, um, and we had a scary story. We had a scary story time that we were talking about, and I had brought up how my dad has always had things happen around him, and I have so many stories when it comes to my dad. But I was telling them, they were freaked out. Literally the next day, my dad sends me a video of a cup that he had on the kitchen, in the kitchen thing, like what was it, counter, and it was literally like the one that my aunt had given him. It was sliding this way, forward and back, and like I can understand that if there's enough condensation, like it could slide by itself. I'm gonna try to see if I can insert the clip. If I can't find it, it's because it was in my what's it called, my, he sent it to me through Messenger. And I think I deleted it already. But anyway, so I can understand if it was condensation and it slid this way or that way, but forward and back, side and side, no, that's not. That was just fucking creepy. And then I sent them all the video that my dad sent me, and it was literally recent, literally the next day, and they were like, "Oh, that's it, no more for me." I'm like, oh, I'm telling you guys this. I'm telling you, I have real, true, scary stories, but I do have pictures of. I guess my dad took pictures of the studio when he felt like something was wrong or like negative, and I'm gonna try to insert them, but you can see skulls. There's faces of skulls everywhere. It was creepy as fuck. Um, I honestly, I'm so glad we got rid of that house. Like, we didn't like the fact that it was so evil. But yeah. So that was my one of my scary stories. I have a couple. I have another one. So that was the ending for part one. I will be making 2 more videos for part 2 and 3. So check it out if you like. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.